Hi, my name is Jessup. I'm the owner of Silicon Valley Associates. We're a residential real estate company right here in the Silicon Valley. And thank you for coming to my weekly show. I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about some more disclosure items, and it's going to be more agent-centric. But if you're a buyer or a seller, it's really good for you to understand this as well. We've been running into two problems, well, really three, in our industry, and one of them has to do with the walkthrough. A buyer has to do a walkthrough 5 days before the close according to the contract, and it says 5 days before you close. And what that walkthrough is designed to do is to find the property in the condition as you bought it and inspect the work that was done, if you had any done, to make sure that it was done in a workmanship manner. It is not designed, however, to find new items wrong with the house. It's just to confirm the property is in the condition that you bought it. The grasses are green, there's no holes in the floors, there's no holes in the wall, that type of thing. The things that you would expect to be there as you bought it. The problem is we're having a bunch of agents who have sellers who are staying in the property past the closing, which is perfectly fine as long as you negotiate that as a part of the contract. But we have agents and people out there that are saying the walkthrough that we're going to do, we're not going to do until after the seller moves out. And what I want to explain to agents is that there are two walkthroughs. There's a contractual walkthrough as a buyer 5 days before the close. And then there's a walkthrough as the buyer transitions into being a landlord. And then at that point when the seller's moved out, then they are a renter and now you are a landlord, and that becomes a separate walkthrough. And in your rental agreement that you put into place, you should have a deposit, you should have the same disclosures with smoke detectors and lead-based paints and all of the things that go into a proper rental agreement. Because the minute that it closes escrow and you're no longer the buyer, you are now the owner, landlord to the old seller, you have different laws and regulations that you need to abide by. So when you're talking to your agents or you're out in the market buying or selling property, know that there's the one contractual and the one as a landlord if the seller's staying afterwards. And don't confuse the two. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is solar panels. Becoming a big issue. You got everybody out there selling solar panels. They're leasing them, they're buying them. Some are subsidies, some are not subsidies. Some of them are county run if you're in Santa Clara. And one of the things that is happening in our industry is we're going in with all these non-contingent offers, and we're not removing all the contingencies going in because you're having to compete and do all this stuff. And then all of a sudden the solar company makes you qualify for the payment of the solar. Or they up the cost of that. We just had a solar company say, now that we're transferring to you, the bill's going up $1,500 a year. And now it becomes a material fact. And now we have to decide if it's a new disclosure, giving the buyer the opportunity to move out of the property. So if you're a seller, and if you're a seller's agent, go to that solar company, get a package, get the contract, find out what the terms are, and put it in your upfront disclosure so it doesn't screw up your deal at the end. Because we're having a bunch of people going, well, that's not what I thought it was. But we removed all our contingency. Now who's responsible? Becomes a gray area. And the seller's going, well, you took it as is. And the buyer's saying, well, I didn't know what as is. So make sure if you're dealing with a solar company, know whether or not you're leasing it, owning it, if it's a shared lease, if the city put it in, if there's a subsidy from the state that needs to be paid back. There's all kinds of things, and every contract is different, so be aware of that. Be careful on your walkthroughs. Make sure if you're staying in the property past the close that you do two walkthroughs, or your agents do two walkthroughs, one as a buyer, two as a landlord. And the second thing that you need to do is make sure that you understand your contract, understand what kind of solar company you have, whether it's subsidized or owned or leased or whatever it is, and make sure that you get proper disclosure up front so it doesn't hold up your transaction. Thank you for coming to the weekly show. Have a great week.